My name is Arne Wilhelm. I'm from Norway, Kristiansand. I do stencil work, and now I'm here in Aberdeen doing that.
And you've got a piece behind you. That's your work, your stencil work, with your alias Vlek. There, tell me about that piece.
The theme of Nuart this year was to reconnect, and I thought about people being trapped within themselves and within their digital bubble during COVID. And I think that has brought about many feelings. And also the concept of social media and this projecting yourself digitally through you be your own director, that it is good, and it's a bit hypocrite of me who has benefited from Instagram or other social media, but also it could be kind of a narcissistic thing. It's important to love oneself, but maybe not too much.
Yeah, because you got the Cupid there and the sort of firing the selfie stick.
Yeah.
So you're from Norway. Obviously, there's a huge connection between. Because this is the Nuart Festival in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
The original Nuart Festival started in Stavanger, and there are twin cities. So, had you been involved with Nuart before? And
yeah, I started going there, and I was working on more classical painting for like 15 years, teaching myself how to paint. And moving home to my hometown from a big town to a small town, I got very into the landscape and the silence of the landscape, and it was quiet. I need to turn off the sound. And then having been doing that for maybe 10, 12 years, having some art exhibitions on that, and kind of doing well. And then I went to Nuart in maybe 2012 or 13, I don't remember, and that was kind of to see how that art connected to the audience and to see how it connected to me. And it reminded me of my younger years doing things on the street. So then I kind of had to go back to that and work with that kind of, putting things out, not just sitting in a studio painting for a year on a painting and then putting in an art gallery and then selling it. And I also missed the joy of working with other people. That is more common within the street art scene than maybe other ways of making art.
And what about your own sort of career then? I think you started in graffiti, didn't you? Sort of back in the 80s. How was that? How did you get into the scene?
No, you had to make your scene of your own. It's like in Kristiansand, it's not a small town, so subculture will have between 5 and 50 people involved, being whatever. So, of course, Norway is a big English and British culture is a big influence to us. Also, English culture in a very most of the culture in Norway that I have enjoyed from abroad has been English. But we saw that film that called Beat Street, which was, if you like to draw and paint, and still are doing it in your teens, and you see such a film about the dynamic environment of people expressing themselves, being part of some of their own thing and also participating in their local community with the positive creativity, kind of energy about it. So we met at, of course, the youth club. They would play the music from this film, and you could see how other guys who seen this film, and some of them were dancing and some of them were maybe writing, and then we started writing what we conceived as street art. We didn't have internet, so it was just seeing that film maybe 4 times, try to remember as much as possible, and then we lost interest in the letters, some of us, and started figures, and then through mainstream Norwegian art media we could read about Basquiat and Keith Haring and the post-graffiti scene, and then we moved on kind of. And then I got arrested for painting on a wall.
When was this? What sort of time was this?
Yeah, it was in the mid-80s.
Okay.
Because then other places than Kristiansand, people are more moved on to tagging and bombing, and they started writing trains in Oslo, and of course the local police officers read the paper and the scandal and the moral panic, and then I didn't even realize I was doing something wrong, and then some police said you're arrested for vandalizing, and vandalizing was like a buffed space on a bridge foundation. How can this be uglier? And I had no intention of vandalizing it either. I was making a artwork, and so it came as a shock. Yeah.
So it's quite innocent for you. So when you're sort of doing your thing, you're essentially going into the trains and doing all that. It's quite an innocent thing for you at the time, was it?
No, we didn't do trains. We don't have subways in Kristiansand. So it was a recession in Kristiansand when we started up, because this was before the oil business of Norway really hit. So it was like abandoned places, abandoned factories, abandoned workshops, things that was just left to crumble so they can build housing. So we kind of, I don't think anyone they really cared what we were doing until somebody suddenly did, and then it was illegal. So then I stopped painting outside for a good while and started doing other projects outside, like misinformation posters and stuff like that that you could do and just walk away. You just needed a sheet that looked like a formal sign and put up a message that didn't mean anything, signed by some authority, and then walk away. So it's much more safer way to. And also we did some kind of more performances or videos. We did this in Oslo around the government quarter as dust tagging thing, where you would tag in, it's very childish, tag in the dust and play loud Wu-Tang Clan and we're hoodies. And soon enough it came like 4 police cars. Yeah, what we were doing, yeah. And then they had to let us go because we had done nothing wrong, but it looked wrong. Yeah. So I thought it got very serious, and I'm not so serious. Maybe I'm a bit serious, but not that serious.
Tell me more about the misinformation campaign that you sort of started.
Yeah, it's that people are really. I don't know how it is in England, but in Norway people are quite obedient. If there is a sign to do something or not do something, most people will comply. And if that message is, and that's good in a way, because people are really, it's a safe society to live in, but sometimes maybe people should question why they get these orders. So to make meaningless orders, no holding hands from this point, for instance. And
did it work, that sort of thing?
We were never around to see, but I can imagine like it's not so much when you finish with the work, you leave it and you don't go back. So because you left it, you done it. It's about doing it. It's about laughing and putting up the sign, and you walk away. And we never stuck around to see if it actually worked, because that was not the project. But of course, to stand there and wait for see people holding hands and let go of the hand and then laugh. It's much better with the idea of people doing that. Then you can just laugh to yourself and then.
Yeah, so it's how people interact with the space around them, and
yeah.
How important signage is to them in the daily life.
Yeah.
I don't know, people are used to programming in some way, aren't they?
Yeah.
Follow these rules.
Yeah, so I was also working at the advertising business, so I had some resources too. And then I read, because I was interested, you can always learn most from people criticizing what you're doing. So I read this English magazine, was called Adbusters. And I saw Banksy had a front page, he even had a calendar. And I thought, this is graphic design, this isn't art. So at the first I didn't really understand what that was. Over time I saw, so it was a process of maybe 4 or 5 years. I was really curious about it, but I didn't quite understand what role it has had in society. And when I did, it was Nuart. And then I started immediately to do it myself, because I had the skills to make stencils and posters and whatnot. So I was doing street art without. We even made in 2000 we made this Apache helicopter with cow adders over a festival, because Norway is a country that's very peaceful, but we are kind of in this international system where value are made through warfare. It influences the welfare of Norway, and then I wanted like to be an American Apache helicopter hovering over the festival with balloons with a co-water. And in retrospect, I see that I was influenced by reading about British street art culture at the time.
But so it's a subconscious influence going on.
Yeah, you're like a sponge. Yeah. So also the things I do, I realize I'm kind of a sponge, and I watch a lot of news, and I'm interested in art, and I'm a very curious person, and then you get the idea, and then you can kind of, oh yeah, and then you visualize and that you do it, and then you share it on the street. It's a very giving thing compared to maybe. I really enjoyed being in the advertising business with the people I work with were very nice people, and sometimes we got to do stuff that was for the better good of the society, and we help people to sell the products so that people could get paid and work. We were working mostly with local small and big companies. That is important for the life and the welfare of the society you live in, but this is more free in a way, and but it's kind of, it's about having an idea, visual idea, and repeating it and putting it out. Yeah, it's a bit similar.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.